Not one, not two, but 7 new updates to Arizona's sealing record law. This is huge. Most of these updates are actually really good for us. One of them doesn't really change anything, and one of them, it's actually going to be pretty bad. Number 1, the waiting periods do not apply when it comes to the fines, fees, and restitution that you have to pay in order to then start waiting either 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years to then apply. This is huge. One of the biggest things that is the best for us, because what would happen is years in the past, you had an old crime 10 years old, but it took you 5 years to pay it off. The waiting period starts once you finish the final payment. That's completely gone now. Super amazing. But you must actually complete all the fines, fees, and restitution before you apply. It could be the day before you apply. So huge improvement there. Thousands of people will now become eligible for this, hundreds of thousands, because of that waiting period being removed or slightly altered there. Number 2, we have that you can approve sealing records for every single case that is eligible, even if certain ones are not. So let's say you have 4 cases, the first 3 are eligible, but the last one is not. The old law would say that none of them are eligible. However, now the first 3 are, and you can apply to get those 3 sealed, even with one that isn't eligible yet or eligible at all. The next one we have is there was this weird waiting period of like, you got to wait an extra 5 years on top of the normal waiting period if you get multiple offenses. Super confusing. They clarified that to basically say, if you got sealing records, okay, if let's say you have a crime 2, 3, 4 in your past, whatever it is, you got them all removed, and then in the future you go and commit a new felony, now on top of the normal 5 to 10 year waiting period, there's an extra 5 years added to that. So essentially 10 to 15 years. And basically the rationale here is you knew better. You shouldn't have committed a new felony, because guess what? You had priors already removed. So don't do that. Once you get stuff removed, you're supposed to be a clean slate from then on. So a little bit of a punishment in there. The next one is amazing for everybody who needs a fingerprint clearance. If you need a fingerprint clearance, sealing records always looked good. It was better to do sealing records, but the problem is DPS, who gives you your fingerprint card, they also do the sealing records. And so it's like you weren't hiding anything from them. Now by law, it is a mitigation. It is an improvement. The DPS, to give you the good cause exception, now must take into consideration the fact that you had your record sealed and go, hey, I should not be using that against you to get your fingerprint clearance. Huge, amazing. Tons of people will benefit from this, because you lose fingerprint clearances for like blinking at the wrong police officer and getting charged with something, even if your case is not actually charged, it's dismissed, all of that. Whole different can of worms there. Next small change that we have here is it used to be that the judge could grant a sealing records from 30 days on. They couldn't be faster than 30 days. They've now changed that to be 60 days. Kind of silly. It doesn't really change anything. Most judges weren't getting any sealing records approved in under 30 days or even under 60 days anyways. So not really a big change there. There is some small changes on what different crimes even if you get sealed, you need to still disclose to future jobs. They didn't really change much. They just clarified the wording in there. And finally, the most important one that doesn't really actually seem to be good for us is going to be that if you were charged, arrested, or convicted of certain types of crimes, you're not eligible. Great, that makes sense on the charged and convicted side, but they removed the convicted of. So let's say you were charged with murder, but your case was dismissed, or let's say it wasn't even you who did the murder. Well, now the law basically has removed the convicted of part. So are you eligible to still, especially if you were wrongfully accused, have those records sealed? We're arguing yes. We haven't encountered this, but I think this will be one of the more contentious issues in the future. And obviously murder is a big topic, but there's a ton of other small things that people get arrested for every day that you want to get sealed and removed off your record, especially if you weren't charged for this, right? There's a lot of stuff that involves assaults and sex crimes and stuff that can negatively impact your life, and so you want those things removed. These are the 7, and guess what? If you've actually been following along here, you would know that these are not actually brand new. These passed back in September of 2024. However, even here in 2025, I just had to argue these to a judge who's been doing this for years that these are the updated laws, and this judge had no idea. Even the prosecutor agreed, and so it was just super shocking that this judge, I guaranteed, has denied hundreds, if not thousands, of applications just on the simple belief that if one of them is not eligible, then none of them can be approved. That's been changed for literally September of 2024. So again, this is not automatic. It is not a guarantee that you get these things approved. There is a fight, there's a battle. You have to know these laws, and the judges don't know them, so you have to know them better than the judges. Super excited about all these updates that we have either way. You need help with this? Please let me know. If you don't even know what to begin, where to begin, if this is for you, just know that you can give us a call, do a free consultation, and find out yourself.